Just very quickly on the research agenda, the Climate Change Commission of the Philippines is also trying to revise or update the research agenda for the Philippines. And this is a perfect, probably, convergence, where you can also include some of the priorities for health and climate change.
Like this. Are specific organizations that we're working with, like non-government organizations or certain organizations that can act as entry point on, for nurses who are interested in working with climate change and health?
There are quite a few. Again, you have to be open and adventurous to leave probably the bedside. As I told you, I got into climate change and health research and now intervention serendipitously. One, I am involved with the Oscar M. Lopez Center, and they do have a lot of programs, both for advocacy and research that nurses in the Philippines may buy into. And I'm sure Dr. Lasco will welcome us with open arms. There's very little, there are very few people who really work on climate change research in this country and in many countries. Second, what we have been doing with the DOH is really helping communities try to use the tools that have been devised by research a number of years ago. We, together with the WHO and the Environmental Health Program in the Department of Health, have been teaching LGUs from the provincial level down to the municipal levels about trying to find out if they have, one, organizational capability to deal with climate change, second, if their communities are climate change resilient and how much risk they are facing, and third, to figure out what interventions should therefore be prioritized. We have 1,700 municipalities in the Philippines, and a number of that a lot of that should be engaged now in identifying their risks. Unfortunately, we don't know. They don't know what their risks are. I had a colleague who was working on these climate change projects. At one point, about 10, 12 years ago, when I was still at the Institute of Health Policy at the National Institutes of Health, one of my colleagues, C.P. David, came out with a tool for geology and watershed. And it was interesting what he came up with. If you type in your population, your area, so let's say Cebu City, and you would put in your population now, and there will be a calculation of your population 10 years from now. It will also tell you how many inhabitants there are and the density of the population. He can tell you when your potable water will likely run out. And he has convinced a lot of communities to start looking at conserving water in that way. And Cebu is one of them. They already are starting desalination of their water because there's no more water, very little water in their water table, but a lot of water around Cebu that is ocean water. So things like that nurses should get involved in. Now, in the hospital, as we look at our practice guidelines, I don't think we can see any climate change resilience related interventions. And the practice guidelines for malaria, for dengue, for a lot of other diseases should include that, including those that are secondary to heat stress. Again, the guidelines do not specify this. We all act as if climate change were not upon us yet. So nurses should involve in that kind of research.
Any others to the rest of the panel. All right, so again, thank you very much for this very enlightening and thought-provoking panel discussion on planetary health. We'd like to thank our speakers, Dr. Comiso, Dr. Magtibay, Dr. Lasco, and Dr. Lynn Lorenzo.
Thank you so much. Now, with Erwin here, we would like to thank you. And what I would like to ask is, with the attendees who were born 1980 and, from 1980 and above, would you please stand up? The young generation. If you were born 1980, okay? Look at this slide here. This is the message of Gina Lopez. This is the message of Dr. Roger Tongan. This is the message of Dr. Comiso. The message of Dr. Magtibay. The message of Dr. Lasco. The message of Dr. Lorenza and Erwin. We will die of old age. They will die of climate change. Okay, so these are our future. So we have a responsibility to respond to the information that has been given us today. We are on the road. So I would like to call Dina Caliente, Grace Macanaria, and Ruth Dinga to thank our panelists and our moderator. And you will have a chance to have your pictures taken with them, to ask them for their business cards and so forth. We have allotted enough time, 12 o'clock, they're going to serve your lunch here. So this is a good networking with our panelists. Thank you.
Just outside, right and right.
There will be 4 stations. Food, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we would like to divide the room in quarters. So go to your correct station, please. So quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're dividing the room in quarters. Go to your correct station. And we would like to there's only 10 stalls in the bathroom, so go in waves rather than in mass. And the poster presentation, it's next door. Contact hours are available, 5.1. So visit our poster presentations next door. Please be back at 1 o'clock.
Thank you very much for your engagement in all of the information and all of the presentations. So this afternoon, it's going to be what we are as nurses and what impacts on our ability to work as nurses, both in the Philippines and internationally. So this afternoon, it's very fitting that we are going to have a speaker from the Department of Labor and Employment. Unfortunately, Secretary Silvestre Bello has a commitment that he cannot really get away from. And so he has sent Undersecretary Claro Arellano from the Department of Labor and Employment to provide the keynote speech for the afternoon. And he is going to discuss responding to the local and global demands in the nursing workforce. Undersecretary Arellano.
Good afternoon. Our secretary, our beloved secretary, Secretary Silvestre H. Bello III,
like to extend his apologies to all of you because he cannot join you this afternoon. He has to attend to an urgent matter of national interest. Kaya pagpasensya na daw po ninyo siya. Anyway, please allow me to read this message to you this afternoon. Director Maria Regina Angela Gallias, Interim Officer in charge of the Commission on Filipinos Overseas, Ms. Ruth Telma Tinda, National President of the Philippine Nurses Association, or PNAA, Mr. Dino Doliente III, PNAA America President, Dean Mary Grace Lacanaria, President of the Association of Deans of Philippine Colleges of Nursing, or ADCPN, summit participants and guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang hapon din.
Let me congratulate the organizers of this second Filipino Nurses Global Summit, the PNAA, PNA, ADCPN, and the CFO, bringing together in one big event Filipino nursing practitioners in the Philippines and from other parts of the globe, representatives of the healthcare industry, graduates being produced every year by more than 400 higher institutions. The sustained interest of the youth in the nursing profession is underpinned by cultural influence on the one hand and economic considerations on the other. For we are indisputably a loving and caring people. This culture aided many students in deciding a career in nursing, which gives them unbounded opportunities to demonstrate their genuine concern for the well-being of other people. To a great extent, our caring ways are what make healthcare institutions from around the world to look at the Philippines as a source of competent nurses. Proof of this strong demand is our yearly deployment of almost 20,000 nurses to various countries. The minimum wage and all other benefits provided under existing labor and social laws. We have all